Hey guys, Paul McLean here. Welcome to the Monday Morning Wake Up Podcast. And I got a special treat for you guys. Like I said, every week I sit back and I think, how can I have, who can I have on here that's going to provide great value as you kick your week off? Because I know how important it is. I value coming on Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, leaning in, just wanting to make this week better than last week, right? To develop, to grow, to get better. And this week I got one of the newest Integrity Marketing Group partners, one of my good buddies, and I promise you he's going to bring great value. My buddy John Gavin.
Thanks for having me, Paul. And I can't appreciate you more what you've done for my career, and to be part of the Monday morning wake up when this was such a big part of me starting the week off, because we were talking about before we had the podcast, we had the call. And it's always crazy to me, how does Paul keep coming up with all this content? And your brain just works at a different level. And we've talked about that, but the fact that you just keep pouring into the agents and in a way that makes it interesting. Like if I had to have a Monday morning wake up call or podcast every week, about halfway through the second week, I'd run out of content and wonder what I'm going to say. But you keep bringing it and keep making it interesting and pouring into everybody. So we appreciate you too.
I appreciate you, man. Well, if you notice, I did the Monday Morning Wake Up podcast solo for about 3 weeks, ran out of content. Now I got guys like you on, bro. And
there you go.
You could bring great value and content to the team. And dude, it's been a pleasure, man. The one thing I love about this business, John, is that, we get to form relationships with just really good people and do life with them. I mean, I just know my mom, she's crazy, but she'd say one thing that definitely was very applicable was like, hey, who you hang out with is who you're going to become. And, we get taught that at an early age when we're hanging out with a bunch of crackheads in school, right? We've got the wrong group of people around us. But, as we grow and get older, sometimes we lose track of like how important it is to have the right association, how important it is to have the right people around you. And it's been a beautiful thing to be in a business that's so lucrative, that does something that serves families, but also we can build relationship, man. Like we've lived life together, and it's been an honor to see you grow, man. I remember you getting started, really like when FFL started, and you coming up and just having a bunch of questions and wanting to get better, wanting to grow, being just humble, being hungry. And now to see you accomplish a massive accomplishment, building a business to the size where you partner with Integrity Marketing Group. Yep. It was I was almost overwhelmed watching the video and excited and happy for you and your family, man. And so excited to get into this call, man. Excited to unpack some of this stuff. What I want to do is kind of get into the beginning phases, because John, I think not many people started when FFL started, and so they don't understand like what it looked like then. They get to see the highlight reel now, like, man, all the systems, the CRM, the lead strategy, all these different vendors, this crazy comp, all this stuff. But for guys that were just kind of getting started like me and you, when we got moving with FFL, it was like a really good vision and then a terrible experience as far as what we lived. Like, it was like, man, where are we get leads from today? What vendors do we have? Like we have Americo, paper contract and paper applications, man. Like there's so much stuff going on. My question is like, dude, what kind of unpack like what that looked like? Cause it took a while for this thing to really kind of get moving for you. How did you, stay faithful, steadfast, persistent while you were going through that process and not really seeing the payoff that, you were hoping for?
So a lot of that, is involved with what you were just saying, is building those relationships. Because when I first when FFL first started, I'd had my insurance license for 2 years, right? I got my insurance license because my previous career didn't exist anymore. I was in the mortgage business. I did fairly well there, but I had a history of making really bad decisions. And so I went broke, lost everything, and was, at a time where you should be winding down and finishing your career. I was looking for a new one, and I didn't know what it was going to be. And I eventually got my insurance license, went to go work for a captive agency just because that's the only career or job I could find at the time. Went to the independent contracting world a year later. And when I went into that original company, I went in broke, and I somehow a year later was more broke. And so that company wasn't set up to, paying the agents like we do and everything like that. And so when Sean said he was starting Family First Life and he was going to put the agents first and and present a company where, we had the highest comp in the industry. We didn't have to pay for all the things that we did at the previous company. I mean, I was at a point where I'm like, I'll go. Take me, please, because this is not working for me. And kind of like you said, we did have a high comp, and so I made some pretty good money right away. Was able to move, 6 minutes down the road from my kids, and that's all I ever wanted. But then, reality sets in with a new company. And it was tough going at first, because we did have one carrier, we had paper apps, we had no lead system, we tried a lot of different things, and some of them worked a little bit, but a lot of them didn't work at all. And so I had, I didn't have an option at the time. I already spent 2 years in looking for a new career, and I finally found something I liked doing. I liked helping families, and I kind of had just a faith that the people I surrounded myself with, which originally were Sean Ruggiero and Matt Smith. And they knew the situation I was in, and they said, dude, just keep your head down, keep working, and this will work out. And I just believed it. I knew that if I kept working hard, things would work out. And then I saw Sean's vision as what Family First Life will look like. And he's really good at painting that picture and getting you to believe in it. And I know that he believed in it, so I believed in him. And so, as bad as things were early on, where we had a carrier one day and they're gone the next, and we had a mail house that we could use and they burned themselves down or something, and just things just weren't working out. But I built up some resilience after going broke, that I just felt like if I just put my head down, worked hard every day, that things would find a way to work themselves out.
I love that, man. And I think that might be like one of the most important things said, which is, putting the work in. Like, what you can control, John, was your activity, like you working your butt off, man, and putting your head down, and know that at the end of the night, if you just gave it your all, even if the results weren't what they, you wanted them to be, you knew you gave it your all. You knew that, man, I paid the price today. I woke up early. I was nonstop. And then if you couple that with trusting in the people that you're working with, that they're going to be there to give you the right feedback, the right adjustments, to kind of lift you up when you're down, to kind of empower you and challenge you when, you can get a little bit better. That's so important, man. Like I remember I just talked about this a while back. I said, my daughter, I got Perlay, which she's 4. And then Penelope is 6. Man, we got 5 kids, hard to remember all the ages. But my 6-year-old, dude, she was just fearless. I could throw her in the sky as far as, and she's just freaking out, like, yeah, I got fired up. My 4-year-old Perlay, like when I just kind of like somewhat like lift her a little bit, she starts spazzing out. And then she'd watch her sister and she's like, all right, Dad, all right, I want to do it now. Like, throw me. And then I try to throw and she'd start spazzing out. And finally I was like, sweetie, listen, you could trust me. Like, Dad's never going to let you fall ever. Like, and I made eye contact. I was looking into her soul. Like, I'm telling you, listen to me. And the moment that she believed me, right, I could tell. And when I threw her in the air, what was really just complete fear before became absolute joy, because she changed the perspective of what could happen. It went from a filter of fear to a filter of faith, and like, oh, Dad ain't gonna drive me. I can trust him. And so she was able to enjoy that experience. And I think that really is the catalyst, man. Everybody's going to go through a different journey from where they're at to where they want to go. But do you enjoy it? Like, do you enjoy even the tough times? Because if you knew what was set before you, that you're going to win because you got your work ethic and you got people that care about you. So I know I'm going to win. If you knew that, then would it be more enjoyable, all these things that we look at as such just, devastating, man. I had 4 no-shows, I had 3 no-shows, I had 10 when I pick up. And so I think that's important, man. Everybody in here, I wonder if you looked at your level of trust in the people that you're working with, that, hey, they care enough to see me through this, to give me the feedback, and I can depend on myself to put the work in. I think if you got that, no matter how long it takes to get there, you're going to endure for the season that's before you. John, how long did it take, man, for you to really kind of get this thing moving? Like, where you started to start seeing money coming in and doing pretty well? Like, was it a year, 2 years, 3 years, a year? Like, what did it look like?
It was a couple of years, only because there's a few things that happen along the way, that are unexpected. I started getting after about a year, we started getting some footing in and gaining some momentum. And, with developed lead program and a couple more carriers. We started, adding some more production to that. And then just like in any business, things come up that are unexpected. And there was one particular one that sideswiped me that I was not prepared for. And I think that incident was probably the biggest catalyst to my success. And it was a situation where, we were trying some things out. This one did not work in a very big way, and it sunk me financially. And after working so hard to find a career that I wanted to do and was decent at and getting some momentum going, just to be blindsided by something, that's when I sat down and said, wow, that's not expecting this. And, I reached out to Ruggiero, and he was always the fixer at the time. And I thought he was going to tell me that, hey, don't worry about this. We're taking care of this. It wasn't your fault, whatever. And the exact opposite happened. He told me that this is business, and in business, things don't always go your way. And if you want to succeed in business, you've got to learn how to withstand some of these things and deal with them on your own. And so rather than him fixing it for me, he just said, fix it or leave the business. And so I sat there for a day. I was mad. But then I realized that this career, this opportunity, this business, and the people I was surrounded by was so much worth the thing that got in my way, that we put a plan together on how to take care of it. It took me about a year. But that conversation made me realize that my whole life, I didn't take accountability for a lot of things that happened in my life. I always thought they happened to me. I thought bad investments happened to me. I thought bad business partners happened to me. And they were all based in a decision that I made along the way. So it was all my fault. And, to some extent, this was too. But there's something that when you take ownership of something that goes wrong in your life, you realize that you're the one that can fix it as well too. And so that one incident made me look back at my life completely differently. And I started making a lot better decisions, not just in business, but in family and everything around me. And I started slowing things down. And, you're not broke at 40 by making a history of good decisions. It's not just happenstance. And so I looked at that and it's okay, I've got to slow some things down. And that's when I started really reaching out for help. And sometimes there were small things, but sometimes there were bigger ones. When do I get an office? When do I hire an admin? How much do you pay them? Because the things that my natural instincts got me in trouble before. So I started reaching out to a lot of people like yourself, like Sean, like Matt, and a lot of other people. And it's funny how the people that I leaned on early on are all integrity partners now. So there's a history of some good decision making on their part. So I started getting answers from them and ideas from them. And then I found myself starting to think like them. What would Paul do? What would Matt do? What would Sean do in this circumstance? And it just trained my way of thinking. And so I started making better business decisions. And then things really started taking off for me then.
Man, I love that. So you started to spend more time and ask questions to kind of understand a different thought process. But that came once you said, hey, maybe this stuff isn't happening to me, it's happening for me. All these different things, what can I look back and learn from it, right? And it's almost like a different look back. Because a lot of times what we do is we look back and we think all these things happened, to us, and it was detrimental. Why me? And you kind of develop a victim mindset when you look like that. But a lot of times, man, all those things, and I want to unpack what you said. You said this was the greatest, lesson that you've learned. I want to kind of get into that a little bit more in depth. But what normally would have been, John, like another thing, right? You would have said, this happened to me. This is why I'm getting out of the business. This is why this is not going to work. That would have been another series of what was already taking place, a pattern that had happened over the last 40 years, right? But instead, this time you said, man, like maybe this is happening for me. Maybe there's some truth. And it took somebody that cared enough to kind of highlight and make you aware of the fact that you're looking at it the wrong way.
Yep.
And so then you find the good in that, and that helps lead into all these other things that lead you to the success you've had now. And there's that one little thing, man, one little spot where it was like, man, I need to take accountability. I need to be more self-aware. I need to think different. And I love what you said. Like for me, I just know that the level of my decisions and choices I've made have got me the result in the life that I'm living right now. And if I want to get to the next level, I got to make different level choices, and those different level choices require a different level thought process. And the only way I can get that is asking questions and getting around somebody that's been there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, say, well, how do you see it? And see, it shouldn't make sense, because if it made sense all the time, then it would be the choices that we would make on our own thought process. It should be like, I don't know about that. And I think that there's freedom in that, John. The moment we can say, man, what can I take from where I'm at and learn from it? Like, this doesn't define me. These are just certain things that have happened. What can I learn from it? And then set myself up to make the right choices moving forward and make adjustments. When we can do that, and then we can also spend the time developing and getting around people that can help develop us, and just listening and doing, it's freedom. Because I remember before, I'd listen, I'd hear, and I'd be like, I don't know about that, man. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That makes sense, but not to my situation, because they don't understand, like, this is what I'm going through. This is what I have going on. It's like, no, fool. Like, they're here, I'm here. It should make sense. You know what I mean? But if I just do it, it's freeing, because now I'm not spending the energy and emotion and time deliberating on, like, well, I don't know, maybe not. Could it? I just say, got it.
Yeah.
It should make sense because they're here. I'm here. Let's go. And so I love that, man. Great points. John, so for you, you started taking accountability when you looked at what was going to take you out of business, that big stepping stone. It became something that was kind of your cornerstone to building the business. What other choices that lead into that kind of helped you get to the place you are now? Like, what other choices or big breakthrough moments, or, things that happen that kind of elevate you, man? Because, a couple years of big struggle. And I remember, man, you coming up and just, this isn't working, like being frustrated, but also having hope, like frustrated in the fact that I'm frustrated where I'm at, but hopeful that it's going to get better and it's going to eventually lead to where I want. I remember that, man. Like, what were some of the big breakthrough moments that took place that, kind of got you to where you're at now?
I think the biggest catalyst was because, there's a point in time where everyone tells you need to hire staff, you need to hire staff, you need to hire staff. And so I did that. And, who do we typically hire? We hire people we like, people that make us feel good. And so I hired staff, but I hired people that really weren't good at their jobs. They just made me feel good every day, and they laughed at my jokes, and they, tell me I smelled good when I came in or whatever. And, but they just weren't good at their jobs. And so, a few years back, I met somebody who has a different personality than me. And she's good at all the things I'm terrible at. And so hiring the right staff that does all the things that you're not good at was probably key for me, because I'm not good at a lot of things. so those other things started picking up. So I could do the sales part of it, I can train part of it, but the business side of things was really lacking, because I don't have a lot of deep I don't pay attention to details, and I have ADD, so I bounce around a lot. And so I found somebody that was really good at the things that I wasn't, and she was able to pick the business side of up things. And then we communicate really well. So we communicate really well on what needs to be done. And so she started taking care of the business side of things. And then we hired more staff, but I let her take care of it, because I was like, okay, I make bad decisions on staff, and we're looking for this person. Why don't you filter through them, and then we'll talk about it and who we hire next. And so, I think I've got some of the greatest staff in the industry, but it's only because I stopped hiring people that just made me feel good, and hiring people that were good at the things that I'm not.
That's awesome, man. Great tip. And I think that as we step back and take a look, maybe even right now, and say, what is my current staff? Or maybe somebody on here, they need a higher staff. That's the next step for them. But they're like, ooh, what if I screw it up? What if I hire the wrong staff? And the reality is this, like, John, that process you spoke about hiring the ones that are going to make you feel good and all that, dude, that had to happen. But because it was just where you're at. And I did the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that just like would tell me the things that I wanted to hear opposed to things I needed to hear. I want to grow ultimately. But at that point in time where I was at business wise, self-image wise, like the other thing almost clouded the big thing, which is, dude, tell me the truth. What do we need to tweak, adjust? Like, Casey, tell me how we get better marketing. Like, give me the suggestions. And now, like, dude, that's what we talk about most staff meetings. Like, dude, what's your questions? What's your suggestions? Like, come on, I don't know a lot. Like, I need you guys, we're all together. But dude, you had to go through that. And see, the person that stays and they don't move because they're worried about what if I hired the wrong person on that? You're going to probably hire the wrong person at first. Hire them fast so you can get to the right person, right? Like, let's go, let's move fast. John, any kind of like funny stories from like your process of getting going that, because dude, every time I talk to you, bro, you're a great storyteller and you've always got a great lesson with the story, and it makes
Yeah, I have one that relates to what we're doing right now, and it's your Monday morning, podcast now, but it was a Monday morning call at the time. And I do travel back and forth on both sides of the mountain still. I've got the house where the kids are, and that's my main residence, but I still have a lot of stuff I do on the other side. And I live in Washington, and there's a giant mountain range that separates the two different sides. And it was years ago, the winter, and I left the house on one side in the morning, and I was heading over east, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and the Monday morning call was on, and so I plugged it in and turned it on, and I was listening to you do your thing on Monday morning, and I hit the top of the mountain, and it was just beautiful out. It was just sunny. The roads were clear. The mountains were just shiny with bright snow. And then I hit black ice. And so I'm driving along, listening to you talk, and the back end got a little squirrely. I'm like, whoa. And then the back end just went boom. And I started spinning around. And all I saw was just gray and white, gray and white, gray and white. And I was going down the middle of the freeway about 70 miles an hour, spinning around. And as chaotic as the outside world was, inside my car, I heard your voice. Well, with hard work and dedication and some internal fortitude, and just, I hear you clear as day. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm going to die. And Paul McLean is going to be the very last voice that I hear. And I'm oddly okay with that. And so I could hear you clear as day, like you were calm in the passenger seat, and I couldn't see anything going on outside because I was spinning. And eventually I came to a stop in the middle of the freeway, and I was like, wow, I would have been okay hearing Paul McLean's voice as the last one before I left Earth.
Well, dude, I don't know how your family's going to feel about that statement, but it makes me feel like it's kind of good.
It's kind of good. It's very soothing.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, man, like that, and that to that point, listening to podcasts and training, dude, like that's what helped me develop the thought process that allowed me to grow and develop, man, and get better. Like my business and where I'm at is really kind of a culmination of me just listening to a lot of good people that can show me the way forward. And I think that's a good point. Like you're in the car going from point A to point B. The question for everybody's like, what are you listening to? I love what Andrew says. He's like, dude, I used to get down to some Taylor Swift, bro. He's like, and then my business changed. I put down Taylor Swift and I started plugging in some good calls and podcasts, but it's just where you spend your time. It's like, show me your calendar and what it looks like right now, and I'll show you in 90 days, man, where you're going to be at. Like, what does your calendar look like when you wake up? What do you do when you wake up, man? What calls you listen to? And, every day, like I screw things up, and I'm starting to develop bad habits. I'm trying to figure out the one to get back to the good ones. And it's a battle, but we got to look at it to know what battle we're fighting. What does that schedule look like? And is it in line with where we want to go in the next 90 days or what have you? All right. I got rapid fire questions for you, John.
Sure.
All right. So this is sporadic. I didn't tell you I was going to do this. So, which is why I like it. Cause it's going to be, yeah. So it's going to be just random questions. I'm going to ask you, what's the greatest leadership pet peeve that you've got?
For myself or for leaders in the group?
Just leaders in general, not yourself. Just like the greatest leadership pet peeve that just drives you nuts.
Not taking accountability in business. And if you have a business, you not only have to take accountability for yourself, but the business as a whole. If something goes on in your business, you may or may not be the reason it caused it, but you've got to take accountability for it.
Love it, dude. All right. What was your childhood nickname?
The Bear.
The Bear.
Yeah. The Bear.
I kind of know why, but I want to ask why. Was it
because I started lifting weights at an early age and I got pretty big? And so I'd always tell my friends that if we ever got in the woods, I'd wrestle a grizzly bear. And so they started calling me the Bear.
Nice, dude. Good nickname. All right. Last one is, what's your favorite quote?
Favorite quote? Oh, Lord. What is my favorite quote? But did you die?
Why? Wait, I love that quote too. That's a quote from Shawn Mike, right?
Yeah, that's Sean Mike. But did you die?
Why
So
is that your favorite quote?
because there's so many things in life that we make a bigger deal than they are. And we act like they derailed us and we couldn't get past this and this happened. But did you die? No, you didn't die. Keep moving forward. And so I just love that. There's so many to choose from, but that one just stuck with me because, I look back at some of the things that, I created in my life, but did you die? No, I didn't die. So get up, keep moving forward.
I love that, man. What a great perspective. And I think that's healthy for everybody moving forward, in whatever gap you're trying to cross is when you are faced with adversity, setbacks, struggles, hardships, just make sure you put them in the right context,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's about most of this business, John. Like when you, even with the decision or the business, hardship that almost took you out of business, that became something that you built the business from and gave you the right attributes to get to the level and sustain the level you want to get to. But even that, you start thinking like in context, like it seemed big,
Yeah.
but think about what most business owners have to go through. I mean, they look at us and they probably laugh like, "Do you guys got to buy leads? Like you get leads and what else? Oh, you just buying leads and you can turn the money around on that in a week. Like that's what you can expect, and it's just, it gives perspective, man. But it's easy no matter how good we've got it. It's no different than my kids, man. Sometimes I want to drive them down to like, Felony Flats in Apple Valley, which it's not, that's just the name of the suburb because of the amount of felonies that are committed there each night. But I want to just drop them off and just say, hey, we'll see you guys in the morning, give them some perspective, because they start complaining about something that like, I wish I would have had when I was a kid. Like, it's just all relative. Right. And so I think that, that's a great quote because it keeps your mind with the right perspective that, when things are going bad, but is it that bad? Do you still have breath? Did you wake up today? All these people died today, man. Well, you weren't one of them. It's counted as a blessing. Let's move forward. Rejoice in the day that God gave you, and let's go make something great out of it. So I love it, man.
Absolutely.
John, I appreciate you, dude. Thank you for joining this morning, man.
You bet.
It's just the beginning, dude. It's fun to know that the years ahead of us, man, we get to kind of, live life together, build this business together. And I appreciate you, value, man. You meant a lot to me and growing this business, and your persistence, your perseverance, dude. I'm telling you, man, like watching you, fight and not give up and keep going was very inspiring and motivating to me. It was impactful to me. Watching you just continue to show up. You weren't writing the volume you wanted to write. You weren't building the business. Things weren't going your way, but you just kept going. You kept going. You kept going. And so I guess that's why for me, when you hit that integrity partnership, it meant a lot for me to see because of that. So, dude, appreciate you. I love you, man. Hey, guys, make sure to like, subscribe, comment below. We got 4 people we pick every single week to win $250 in lead credit. And so make sure to comment below and share this. I'm telling you, this is one to share. It may make a difference for somebody that is looking to have a difference made. And so if you want to be that person that leads them to it, share this thing, and let's go make it a massive week. Be strong, stay steadfast. Thank you, John. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate it. Take care.
What's going on, everybody? It is time once again to give away $1,000 worth of leads. 4 lucky people who commented on last week's video, which is playing right here, will win $250 worth of leads each. So right now, if you're watching this, leave a comment on this video right here so you're entered into next week's drawing. Guys, it's that easy to win, and you always know, we all know how big of a deal leads are. So leave a comment and let's get started with our winners. Our first winner is Cecilia Latu. Sean is so brutally honest, and that's just what we need. Winner number 2, Matt. Great stuff, guys. Winner number 3, Heidi Warner. Thanks for all the great information. The stories are always so inspiring. And winner number 4, Leah Chanel King. Love the conviction. Guys, it's that simple. Just leave comments, empower people, show people how great the business is, tag people even. Go to our YouTube page if you're watching this on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube. Obviously, you're in the right place. Leave a comment so you're entered to win next week. Guys, it's that simple. We'll see you next time.